Hey gorgeous, it's Ker-leen. Thank you for tuning back into my channel. In today's video, I will be sharing some fragrances in my perfume collection that I feel are the perfect warm weather fragrances. These fragrances tend to keep me feeling fresh and clean for a very long period of time, but they are not your typical fresh and clean soapy fragrances. I feel like these fragrances are a little bit more interesting than that. So if you're interested in hearing all about these fragrances, then please keep watching. Hey friend, welcome back to the channel. I hope your week has been going amazingly well, and I'm so grateful that you're here for another video. Before we jump in today, I want to say thank you to those of you who clicked on the thumbnail and may be new here. On this channel, I talk luxury, I do review videos, I share my fragrance journey, and I also sprinkle in a little bit of lifestyle in my monthly vlogs. So if any of those things pique your interest, then I would love to have you here. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when my videos drop. All right, let's get into it. So the first fragrance I have here is Parfums de Marly's Casili. Casili is a fruity floral fragrance that has this fresh element to it. Whenever I put on Casili, I feel very fresh smelling. This is such a feminine fragrance. It has a little bit of musk in here. There's a tropical nuance to this fragrance, and it's a little soft spicy, and it's just overall a very interesting fragrance. I've not smelled anything that smells like this. You can definitely detect a little bit of that Delina DNA in this fragrance, but this fragrance takes an entirely different direction. This was actually my first fragrance from Parfums de Marly because at first Delina was too strong to my nose, especially early on in my fragrance journey. Now I find myself more attracted to Delina Exclusif and Delina La Rosée, but in the beginning I just couldn't do it. And I went for Casili, and Casili is just such a beautiful fragrance. I just really love Casili. Casili is one of those fragrances that you can throw on any time of year, but it's especially beautiful during the warmer months of the year. So this is one that I pull out when I want to feel put together, but also fresh smelling. This is also extremely feminine, and I just love this fragrance. This fragrance to me feels like a fruit smoothie. Maybe I'm having a fruit smoothie by the pool and there's a rose bush nearby. I'm surrounded by tropical flowers as well, and it's a warm day, but I'm dipping my toes in the pool. So this fragrance makes me feel very fresh. There's this powdery element, but this fragrance is more nuanced than simply powder or citrus, and that's what I love about this. It's such a fresh and clean feminine type of scent. So this is Casili by Parfums de Marly. Speaking of fruit smoothie, the next fragrance is known for smelling like the most beautiful strawberry smoothie, and this is Burberry Her Elixir. Burberry Her Elixir is one of those viral designer fragrances, and for good reason. It's a very likable scent. I get a compliment almost every time I have this on. It smells so sweet and creamy. There are white florals in here. There's that beautiful strawberry. There's also another berry at the top of this fragrance. So it's really fruity at the top. Then you have a white floral. I believe the white floral is jasmine. And then you have vanilla and amber at the base. So this fragrance is a very simplistic fragrance, but what I love is that they've captured beautiful fruits while still giving us a nice and creamy base. And I think that's what makes this smell like a fruit smoothie. The jasmine in here is not going to bother your nose whatsoever. And yeah, this is just a fun fragrance. Now, if you cannot do anything synthetic, then you may not like the synthetic aspect of this fragrance. This is not the most realistic or natural smelling strawberry. That's not what this is. However, this is not the most synthetic smelling strawberry either. This just gives us an imaginary strawberry smoothie with maybe some whipped cream on top. There is this like subtle woodiness to this fragrance. And this fragrance just puts me in the mind of summertime fun. I can imagine an ice cream parlor where I'm being served a delicious hand-spun strawberry milkshake. Yeah, that's more of what this is. This is more of a strawberry milkshake. This has those fruity components, but then this also has those creamy components at the base, which gives this a hint of a lactonic vibe. So that's really what I get. This is like a hand-spun strawberry milkshake. So you're probably wondering, well, if it's a strawberry milkshake, how is it fresh and clean? There is a powdery component to this fragrance that is undeniable. Somehow, this fragrance is super powdery to my nose. And in my opinion, when fragrances have a powdery element, it immediately gives a freshness, not in the sense of an aquatic freshness, but a clean freshness. And so that's what this fragrance gives. This fragrance evokes clean, laundered clothes because of the powdery aspect in here, while still giving that strawberry milkshake vibe. Although this fragrance is very simple, it's a nuanced, fresh and clean, and very feminine type of scent. This is Burberry Her Elixir. The next fresh and clean and feminine scent I have here is one that I've done a video all about recently. This is Zamaya's Hawwa Pink. Hawwa Pink is a dupe for Delina La Rose by Parfums de Marly, and I recently did a video all about how the two fragrances are alike and how they differ. So if you're interested, please go and watch that. I will link it here. But this fragrance right here gives most of what the OG is supposed to give. This fragrance is sweet, it's fruity, there's a rose component, it's fresh, it's citrusy, it's slightly woody. This one in particular has a very nice musk to it, and this fragrance is so fresh smelling and refreshing. And I don't know about you all, but in the warmer months when it's super hot, I love putting on something that feels refreshing. So not only does this feel very soft and feminine and floral and fruity, it also has this refreshing aspect to it. My favorite part about this fragrance is the set of top notes that is in here. You have lychee, you have bergamot, you have pear, all in the opening. So you have some sweet and slightly tart elements, some really fresh and juicy and citrusy elements. And I just love the way that this fragrance feels like it is quenching my thirst, so to speak. I also love the woody aspects because I feel like that keeps it from feeling juvenile or too simplistic. There is a maturity to this fragrance. There's a little bit of musk in here, and overall this fragrance is darling. It is gorgeous. It is the perfect feminine, fresh and clean scent for the summer. Again, please go and watch my comparison video between Zamaya Hawwa Pink and the OG Delina La Rose. So speaking of refreshing and juicy and citrusy and slightly woody, the next fragrance I have here is another Parfums de Marly fragrance, and this is Valaya. So this is another viral and popular fragrance, and for good reason. When I first smelled this fragrance, I was not checking for it, but this fragrance literally pulled me in over the course of a week because the tester strip that it was sprayed on, I put it in my purse, and that tester strip was emanating that gorgeous fragrance for a week straight. Not only was I impressed with the fact that I was smelling this fragrance as if it were just sprayed on the tester strip, but the scent. The scent is something I have never smelled before. This is the second Parfums de Marly fragrance that I've shown in this video that I've said I've never smelled anything quite like it. So that's saying something about the uniqueness of the house. This fragrance is fruity, it's aldehydic, it feels airy and open, it's juicy, it's sweet, yet woody. There are floral notes in here, it's watery. This fragrance is the ultimate refreshing scent. Not only is this fresh, clean, and feminine, but this is long lasting. So this fragrance is a 10 out of 10 fragrance. This one is very citrus forward, especially in the beginning. There's also a fruity component in the opening of this fragrance, and like I mentioned, it's aldehydic. There's an aldehydic component in the opening of this fragrance. But this fragrance is also very musk forward. It's not musk heavy, it's not overwhelmingly musky, but it is very musk forward. You can detect the musk in this fragrance. You can also detect the woody vibes in this fragrance, but the wood here is not a deep, dark, dense wood. It's a very crisp and clean type of wood. So it adds a maturity to this fragrance, and I assume it also helps it to last forever because this fragrance lasts forever on your clothes. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on this fragrance and hear about its dupe, then please go and watch the video I will link here. In that video, I compare Valaya to its Arabian dupe, so do check that out. This is Valaya by Parfums de Marly. This next fragrance is a celebrity oldie but goodie. I mentioned it in one of my recent videos, and one of my subbies told me that she actually loves this fragrance and her daughter loves it as well. And I've been eyeing this fragrance all week and I decided to pull it back out. This is one of those fragrances that when I have it on, I smell incredibly sexy, incredibly feminine, very fresh smelling. And if you look at the notes, you wouldn't think that that's what I would get from this scent. This is the Kardashian fragrance. I think that's the name of it, is just Kardashian or Kim Kardashian. But this is one of my most favorite celebrity scents to date. It's a classic scent with classic notes, but it smells gorgeous. And I think this is one of those fragrances that's timeless as well. I don't see this feeling dated anytime soon. So this is a fragrance you can pick up off of Amazon. You may be able to run into this at your local TJ Maxx or Marshalls, but the safest bet is to just look on Amazon. That's where I purchased this one. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but I am almost finished with this. I have about 15 to 20% of fragrance remaining in this bottle. So this fragrance is primarily a white floral fragrance, but what I love about this fragrance is its opening. It has a mandarin orange and a honeysuckle along with an orange blossom. So you get a gorgeous honeyed white floral fragrance with a burst of juiciness from the mandarin orange. And I feel like that lasts for quite some time into the mid of this fragrance. So it doesn't just vanish right away. You get that juicy white floral fragrance with a honeyed element for a good 15 to 20 minutes into the wear. This fragrance does last on the clothes for a very long time, and it projects for about 4 to 5 hours for me. I typically wear this when I'm out of the shower and going to bed at night. This is one that my husband enjoys. He always compliments me when I have this on. And sometimes you think it's the most expensive or the fragrances with the most exhaustive list of notes that are going to garner compliments, but sometimes it's the simple fragrances, y'all. Sometimes it's a celebrity scent, and that's the charm of this fragrance. It is so simple, but it gets the job done. I also love that this has tuberose and gardenia, so you get some more white florals, but none of the white florals in this fragrance feel sharp. I feel like they're very smooth and rounded, and I feel like there's a sweetness to this fragrance as it dries down and a subtle vanillic creaminess as this dries down. I'm not really picking up on woody notes, although they are listed in this fragrance. This fragrance is mostly a juicy, honeyed white floral fragrance that dries down to something vanillic and slightly creamy at the base, and I love this fragrance. It's so good. This is Kardashian by Kim Kardashian. I would also add that this is slightly soapy. It's a very subtle soapiness, but I do pick up a soapiness. The next fragrance I have here is also very simple but very beautiful. It is an Arabian dupe, and so many of my beautiful subbies suggested that I pick this up, and I finally did. This is Junoon Noir by Haramain. You all have been singing the praises of this fragrance for so long. I've heard so many wonderful things about it, and I want to thank each and every one of you that suggested I pick this up. Y'all did not steer me wrong. I love this fragrance. It's so good. I'm going to reserve more of my thoughts on this fragrance for a future video where I will be comparing it to the OG Dama Bianca by Xerjoff. So please stay tuned for that. But just know I find this fragrance incredibly feminine, incredibly soft, fresh, and clean. This fragrance opens up with a citrus, but it's unlike any other citrus I've ever smelled before. It's the fruit of kumquat, which I find quite unique. But then it develops into something very fluffy and creamy, and the vanilla in here is sort of sitting on top of that kumquat in the dry down. And this is just absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. This fragrance is also super duper long lasting, and the sillage is amazing. This is the type of fresh and clean and soft scent that sits in the air, and who doesn't love that for those warmer days? This fragrance is also very powdery. It has an orris in it, and I realized that I am loving the note of orris. It creates this buttery, powdery, velvety texture in the fragrance, and in this fragrance is at the mid. And y'all, the mid and the base of this fragrance is absolutely gorgeous. I love the way this fragrance develops. As I mentioned, I will be back with a comparison video, so I'm going to pause here and reserve the rest of my thoughts for that video. The last fragrance I have here is another Haramain fragrance. This is one that I've talked about ad nauseum. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. I am sure you all are getting tired of me bringing this fragrance up, but it's that good. It's that good, especially during this time of year. This is Haramain's Junoon Rose. So this was the first Junoon in my perfume collection. I absolutely love this fragrance. It is the epitome of femininity in a bottle. I think I've said that before. I've done a video detailing my thoughts on this fragrance and also comparing it to the OG, which is Blossom Love by Amouage. So please go and watch that video for more details. But this fragrance is heavy on the powder. So if you don't like powdery scents, you may find the powder in here too intense. What I love about this fragrance is it opens up with a gorgeous cherry blossom and ylang, and then there's also a bergamot. So you have a freshness, you have a tropical and dense sort of meaty type of floral, and then you have that cherry blossom, which to me is very bold, almost like cherry juice. And then I love the amaretto note at the mid of this fragrance. I feel like those top notes mixing with the amaretto is just chef's kiss. And then this develops into a powdery, slightly creamy scent with all of those top and middle notes still kind of lingering. And I love the way this fragrance makes me feel. It feels very fresh, it feels very powdery, it feels very soft, it feels very sweet, cozy, extremely alluring in my opinion. And this also has this very nurturing and womanly vibe to it. I had this on the other day. The humidity was really high and it was sweltering hot. And this fragrance kept me feeling and smelling fresh for hours. The entire time I was out, and I was out for over 6 hours. So this is one that is going to be clutch this summer for me. It's going to have me feeling the exact same way that I felt when I first sprayed it on before leaving the house. So I can't say enough good things about this fragrance. This is like an it girl, clean girl, fresh, feminine, soft type of scent. This is Junoon Rose by Haramain. All right, friend, thank you so much for spending this time in your day with me. I'm glad you're still here, and if you enjoyed the video, if it was helpful, definitely go ahead and hit the like button on your way out. And if you're new here and you love fragrance content, I make quite a bit of it on this channel, and I would love to have you be a part of the family. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you never miss another one of my videos. Before we go our separate ways today, I wanted to encourage you with a word that I got from a sermon I was listening to. This one statement was like a whole word. When I heard this statement, it gave me pause because there was so much truth in the statement. And the statement was, you are led by what you're full of. Let me say that again. We are led by what we are full of. Think about a tree. We know the type of tree it is by the fruit it produces. In the same way, what we feed ourselves, what we're listening to, what we're watching, the people we hang around, what we are absorbing on a day-to-day basis, then becomes fuel for what we produce. So if we're feeding ourselves good and positive things, if we're sitting under wisdom, if we're getting good counsel, if we're listening to things that benefit us, benefit our minds and benefit our hearts, then we're going to be led by those things. When we have to make decisions, when we have to respond to other people, respond to life situations, then the things we've been feeding ourselves is what's going to lead us and help us to make decisions. And that's the type of fruit that we're going to bear. And the reverse is also true. If we're feeding ourselves with negative thinking, negative content, negative people, just negativity, darkness, things that are bereft of light, that's what we're going to be led by and how we're going to respond to life situations. We are led by what we are full of. So what are you full of today? Like I said, that was a whole word for me. So that is something I'm going to be reflecting on and chewing on as I go into the rest of my week. And I thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one very soon. Bye.